A reading from the letter of Paul to the Colossians. Brothers and sisters, put on as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, heartfelt compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, bearing with one another and forgiving one another, if one has a grievance against another. As the Lord has forgiven you, so must you also do. And over all these, put on love. That is the bond of perfection. And let the peace of Christ control your hearts, the peace into which you were also called in one body. And be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, as in all wisdom you teach and admonish one another, singing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs with gratitude in your hearts to God. And whatever you do, in word or in deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God, the Father, through him. Wives, be subordinate to your husbands, as is proper in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives, and avoid any bitterness toward them. Children, obey your parents in everything, for this is pleasing to the Lord. Fathers, do not provoke your children, so they may not become discouraged. The Word of the Lord.
Our second reading on this Feast of the Holy Family is taken from the letter of Paul to the Colossians. We have been reflecting on the different characteristics of a family that is holy, a family that becomes really a seedbed for the growth of everyone. In the first reading from Sirach, we saw the importance of honoring one another and how honoring, especially the parents, is a source of great blessing to the children. But there is a challenge when difficult moments come through old age, through loss of memory, through sickness. Can we keep that attitude of honoring them rather than despising them? In the second reading, we find the centrality of love. Love. Some of you might say, well, it goes without saying. How can a family survive? And how can a family reach holiness without love? But it is good to be reminded. It's good to be reminded. And the second reading really moves from the wider family of the church to the small family, the domestic family. And St. Paul was very, very precise in how a family should manifest love. And as I said already when we were reflecting on the first reading, his challenge is also when things get rough, can you still maintain love? It is easy to love somebody else, even outside of the family, when the person agrees with you all the time, when you have the same tastes, when the person gives you a lot of favors, grants you a lot of favors. Oh, it is easy to love. But the second reading is quite realistic. The second reading knows that moments of difficulty could come. And so, how do you show love? Whether in the community called the church or in your basic family unit. You have to bear with one another. Patience. You have to stretch your patience if you truly love. That means you don't give up on someone the moment you encounter an irritating moment with that person. Stretch your patience. Do not let the difficulty quench your love. That's patience. The other thing, Forgive one another. Another expression of love. Be gentle. Don't lose hope on the other person. Always believe that there is goodness in the person. And forgiving the person is actually saying, I know there is something better in you. And so let that fault pass and let us awaken the better part of you. St. Paul also says, clothe yourselves with humility and meekness. Let the other person experience heartfelt mercy from you. So you see, love is expressed in these very specific and concrete manifestations or even virtues. Patience, forgiveness, mercy, meekness, humility. All of this will work well when things are not in the right places. And the family that is loving stores up a lot of riches. Riches of love, patience, forgiveness, bearing with one another, humility and meekness, so that when the rough moments come, they don't give up on each other. It is significant that the second reading ends with mutual submission. Husbands, wives, and children submitting to one another. What is the secret? What is the secret? What prevents a family from fighting one another and lording it over each other? What is the secret of mutual submission? Love. And love is of God, for God is love. So, we have two characteristics already of a good and holy family. Based on the first reading, honoring one another. And secondly, active love that enables us to bow and to submit to one another.